It takes no effort to deserve love. It does take effort to remember it. And maybe we're in one of those two stages, of faith. Either trying to deserve love or to remember love, or both. There's a verse, Romans 5, chapter 5, verse 5, that says this: God has poured love into our hearts through the Spirit God has given us. Where is God's love? Within us. John 14:27 also comes to my mind. Jesus says, "My peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives. Don't let your heart be troubled or be afraid." So why is it that so many Christians I know are deeply troubled, deeply afraid, and miserable? I think the answer that I've discovered from my own life is it has to do with spiritual amnesia, spiritual forgetfulness. And we all struggle with it. We all have it to some degree or another. Forgetfulness. I was reminded of a thought this past week that goes something like this: God's blessing shines within our hearts where God abides. And I need but turn to God within, and all my sorrows melt away as I accept God's boundless love for me. So forgetfulness, we look out in the world for what can make us happy, what can give us peace, what can give us love. But nothing needs to change or be different out there in the world for us to experience God's blessing. Because God's love is already within. We already have it within. And when I think that I live my life where I need something, or I expect something, or I want something out there in order to get a blessing or to experience peace or happiness or joy, I forget that it's already within. God has poured His love into our hearts, right? And the ego, many people talk about the ego or the false self, and we're getting deep here, getting psychological, is constantly searching and seeking but never finding. And then I get to blame the world, people, circumstances, situations. When I don't find out there what will make me happy, I live in misery, I blame the world, I live as a victim. So the secret is to remember. We already have the blessing of God within, God's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness already within. So here's what I'd like to offer you is a prayer of remembrance. And this is not so much a technique as it is about relationship. But I want to ask you to choose a name for God that's your deeply meaningful name for you. To place your hand over your heart and to call that name of God underneath the hand on your heart, to remember God's presence within you. And just say that name and be in awareness and be in remembrance and feel God's love. That's the first way. The first phrase is your name. Another phrase I want to give you is simply this: place your hand over your heart and say this phrase, perhaps will help you. I feel the love of God within me now. And meditate on that, reflect on that, and feel God's presence within. The last phrase is simply one word: yes. Consenting and assenting to God's presence within. so that you can live out Romans 5:5, feeling, knowing, being aware of, conscious of the love that's been poured out into our hearts, the Spirit that is within. So I hope that's helpful. Take what's helpful and leave the rest. And I challenge you with me this week to practice that for between 5 and 15 minutes this week. Practice the prayer of remembrance and let me know how it goes for you. So until next time, may you live all the days of your life.